Well, it's going to be an interesting day no matter what happens, but we've started out the morning with Tesla inching towards that magic 200 number. Now, according to my friends, the 200 isn't really the big number, although I think it is. 220 is going to be the tough one. But I think most of us would be thrilled if Tesla got through 200. Well, let's find out what maybe Elon Musk has to say. According to Alice_Avoigt, 𝐕𝐢𝐼𝐺t, Elon has just said that Tesla's Robotaxi business will be worth at least 8 times the current share price, maybe even more. And he's the one who should know best. Here's the quote. He was replying to Tesla Economics, who had said that it would be 8 times higher. And Elon said, maybe higher. Well, there you go. By the way, that's only the Robotaxi business. Has nothing to do with Optimus. All right. But let me just say, let's be careful about this lovely advance in Tesla stock price. I know most of you are probably investors, but some of you are traders. Some of you are in between. You're kind of like, I'll be in until I get out. The long term on Tesla, in my opinion, is one of the most certain deals that there can be. It's absolute. It's just like totally baked in. Waiting 5 years, 10 years, waiting until it hits $1,000 a share is a no-brainer. $2,000 a share, $3,000 a share, depending on what your needs are. This is not investment advice. This is just Randy Kirk's looking at it and thinking about it, okay? But between now and then, it's going to be this and this and this and this, and who knows where it's going to end up next week. Right now, we're starting up towards that 200, 204 range and then to 220 maybe, but maybe not. There's every reason to believe that no matter how much excitement there is right now, slipping back to 150, might be possible next week because maybe the numbers next week aren't baked in. And there's every belief that that there could be another knock, later in July when the earnings numbers come in, and 55 cents is not enough. Maybe it's lower than that. Maybe AJ's high. Maybe it comes in at 45 cents before the one-time restructuring costs. Having said that, I just listed multiple things the other day that could cause the stock to go higher between now and 8.8, and then on 8.8, unless they really don't do a good job of explaining what they're planning to do, I think the stock is going to rip. Will it rip the next day? Well, traditionally what happens is Tesla has a fall off after an 8.8 type event, although I think I can make an argument that when they show metal, the stock goes up immediately. We'll see. But even when it falls after these events, what people just don't pay any attention to, but this is what I do. This is how my brain works, is I see these trends, and the trend is 2 to 3 days after those meetings is when the stock goes up. All right, so speaking of trends and things that I noticed, you may have heard, if you've been paying attention to this channel this week, I have said it a couple of times. I have said that the Cybertruck backlog is Osborning the Model Y, but others haven't agreed with me. But now I have at least some proof, about the only amount of proof I am able to get, but I ran a poll. Well, it turns out according to the poll, and there's only 100 people, whatever, a couple hundred people answering, but it turns out the Osborne for the model is not just the Model Y, it's the Model 3 and the X. It's hurting all three. That's about evenly distributed on the Model Y and 3. It's Model Y 39%, Model 3 35%, and 15% for the X. I wonder if Elon has really recognized that those 2 million reservations for the Cybertruck probably costing him 500,000 units this year. I'm serious. Now think about this. This is crazy, but I've been trying to figure out, I've given you all kinds of reasons. In particular, it has to do with the Midwest. But, when it comes down to it, the Model Y, Model 3, the price advantage over every ICE car in the world right now is unbelievable, especially with a $7,500 discount. Even Gary Black believes that. He talked about it last year. We talked about the halo effect from the Cybertruck, bringing people into the showrooms and then buying a Model Y and 3. No, What's happening is people are going into the showrooms and they're saying, "I'll wait." No, have you heard anybody else reporting this? Can you go ahead? Tell me the arguments in the comments below. Tell me why this is wrong, especially after, even though it's a small poll, after that poll, I think we've got real evidence. 2 million reservations, people waiting like us, waiting for the Cybertruck, aren't buying Model Ys and Model 3s. And by the way, the other category, the reason it doesn't add up to 100% is I said other cars, non-Tesla cars. It was like 3%. Well, okay, you remember Martin Viecha, the former investor relations guy at Tesla? Well, apparently he just went out and bought a Model 3 Performance, and this is what he had to say. He says, "I just took a delivery of a Model 3 Performance. It's absurdly fast, so much better than my previous Model 3 with so many changes, big and small. Most importantly, I'd go so far to say it's too affordable for what it is, a premium sedan that is Porsche fast." More than Porsche fast. "The delivery experience is second to none. Received a message saying your car's ready at the location. I took an Uber to the delivery center, located my car, unlocked car with my phone, and drove away. No papers to sign, no staff to meet. That was it." I keep looking for excuses to drive it wherever and whenever I can. Puts a smile on my face every time. It's a 500 bhp go-kart. Well, what does it cost for one of these Model 3 Performances? $49,490 before the $7,500 credit. It's $42,490. Holy mackerel. Well, so there you go. That's why I'm sitting here. I just, the Cybertruck Osborne thing is real, believe me, because who wouldn't want that? How will the Robotaxi business unfold now that there's multiple players such as Waymo already deploying in the United States and in China, with more likely to go? Firma or something came out yesterday. It's a 2026 thing. Looked all right, looked good. It seemed like they'd taken a lot of Tesla's playbook. How will Tesla end up the winner in this? The winner take most, as they call it. Well, it's easy. It's a 1-2 punch is how. 5 million cars already on the road, ready to be turned into full functioning cabs. This is key. Elon's been talking about it forever. It might be closer to 6 million now. I don't know the exact number. By the time they actually turn it on, it might be 6 or more million cars ready to. No, will all those cars turn into full functioning cabs? No. Maybe 500,000? Okay, 10%. Ours will not be turned into a cab. I can promise you that. I know my spouse. I know my wife. She doesn't want it. She doesn't want her car being driven by somebody else. But would you think 10%? So that would be 500 or 600,000 cars ready to go. Then number 2, massive ramping power for Tesla. Nobody has there's not a chance. Remember, everybody else has got to use LiDAR. Everybody else is not a manufacturer. I mean, so between now and when anybody else is really starting to ramp, trying to ramp, a couple of years, you'd have another couple of million cars out there in the robotaxi world. Anyway, it's Tesla's business. It's Tesla's to lose, and they're not going to lose it. But anyway, for extra measure, it will be by far the lowest cost solution. These cars are probably going to cost around $16,000 to build. So how are you going to make it any cheaper than that? And probably most of them will be double that. Number 4, with the cherry on top, incomparable inference. Tesla's so far ahead on inference, not only the chip in the car, but also the inference that'll be behind it down in some big new inference factory in Austin. And then finally, sprinkle on some nuts the massive capital advantage that Tesla has in terms of being able to roll it out fully with whatever is necessary in terms of CapEx. There's going to be plenty of room for a couple of dozen or more other players to make a lovely living in this space with their funny looking cars with the LiDAR and stuff. This is Randy Kirk. Would you hit the like button? If any of this is useful, If any of this is helpful, would you hit the like button and subscribe and notify? We've got, of course, today, I think it's going to be, I don't think it'll be Brian White. I think the day will be Scott. I've got interviews with both of them sitting, waiting, and I think it'll be the Scott one. So if you want to see that, please hit, and then later on today, we've got Bradford Ferguson, of course, and I've got a whole bunch of stuff I want to talk to him about, especially as we're punching toward this 200 number. I'm sure he's going to have some things to say about that. And then, of course, if there's really value, if you're getting $3 a month worth of value, would you consider doing the Patreon thing? That would be kind. It would be very kind. All right, let's figure out what's going on the financial side, on the market side. Initial claims for state unemployment benefits dropped 6,000 to a seasonally adjusted 233,000 for the week ended June 22. The claims data included last Wednesday's Juneteenth, National Independence Day, a new holiday. Claims tend to be volatile around public holidays. Well, it was really volatile. It's in the same range. I think 195 is the low, 238, 243 was the high. Now we're 233 for this week. It's been so flat. Okay, it's very weird to be this flat over this amount of time. Economists are split on whether this recent increase, according to the article, this recent increase in claims pointed to rising layoffs or just a repeat of volatility. What? Claims remain at historically low levels. That's what we know, and are being closely watched for signs whether employers are laying off more people. This is about where we are sitting. There's no change. Therefore, what do you think? No change. That means the Fed is not going to be able to move. The government confirmed in a separate report on Thursday that economic growth moderated sharply in the first quarter. Gross domestic product increased. They revised it again. Of course, they do this revision 3 times. They revised it up to 1.4 from 1.3. So that isn't much of a change. Now, Alex put a thing out. He says, or AJ, was it AJ? I think it was Alex, said he's seeing a bunch of stuff that we should be paying attention to, and he's going to report on that later. So I'll probably bring that up again because what's happening with this gross domestic product numbers? Are they playing with it? What's going on? All right. Growth with regard to the economy. The economy grew at a 3.4 rate in the fourth quarter, then down to 1.4. The U.S. Central Bank has maintained its benchmark overnight interest rate at the same level. Oh, this is the one I always look for with the unemployment numbers. The number of people receiving benefits after an initial week of aid, a proxy for hiring, increased by 18,000 to a seasonally adjusted 1.839 million. The so-called continuing claims data covered the period, So that's up a bit. This would be somewhat helpful. This is a data point that the Fed pays attention to, and this will give them a little bit of room to think in terms of something going lower. Unlikely. Okay. Business investment in durable goods fell. Okay, this is from Market Watch. Orders for durable goods such as autos and computers barely rose in May and underscored the ongoing weakness in the industrial side of U.S. economy. New orders inched up 1.1%. That'd be a 1.2% annual rate. Economists polled by the Wall Street Journal had expected a 1 point drop in durable goods, but they got a slight increase. Although the May report was better than expected, the increase in orders in April was revised down. Last month, there was showing a 0.6%. They revised it down to 0.2. So this upward statement today could easily be revised down to a negative next month. If you take out transportation, new orders for manufactured goods fell slightly in May. Much of the weakness in new orders was tied to Boeing again. Orders for new cars and trucks rose 0.7 in a bit of a surprise. That is definitely a surprise. That is mainly why new orders beat the Wall Street expectations. If you take out transportation, new orders for manufactured goods actually fell. They have this thing, more forward-looking measure known as core orders. It dropped by 0.6% last month. And that category omits defense and transportation, considered a weather vane for broader business investment. down 0.6%. New investment has basically been flat for the past year, has shown little sign of accelerating. Okay, well, this is breaking from Market Watch. The numbers: pending home sales fell in May to an all-time low. All-time low? You mean like 1822? Anyway, I assume this means a modern low. Maybe since they started thinking records. Anyway, all-time low. U.S. home buyers grapple with elevated mortgage rates and rising home prices. Yes, but remember the real reason. Please understand the real reason. It will affect May. It might affect June. It will, by July, August, I think it'll be popping back. Everybody that needed a house bought one over the winter. I mean, that had to have a house, that was willing to pay these high mortgage rates. All those people bought houses. So pending home sales fell 2.1% in May from the previous month. Pending home sales reflect transactions where the contract has been signed for an existing home sale. Sale has not gone through. Contract signings fell to a record low, the NRI says, since it began tricking. This is the lowest since 2001. Okay, that's a record. 2001. Sales pace fell short of expectations. Wall Street expected home sales to fall by 0.4. Transactions were down 6.6% from a year ago. They also laid out a forecast for the housing markets in the months ahead. It expects the 30-year mortgage rate to remain over 6%. Yeah. It also expects existing home sales to be 4.26 million in 2024 and 4.92 million in 2025. Home prices are expected to continue. The NAR said it expects the median existing home price to rise to an annual high of 405,000 and to 412,000 next year. So what impact has this had on markets? Has any of this changed anything? Well, what you got is you've got the Dow up 55, you got the NASDAQ up 55, and you got the S&P up 7. So everything's kind of up this morning. Tesla has been flirting around with yesterday's close. Can't seem to decide which direction it wants to go. Right now, it is up 3 cents. It has been up about $1 and down about $1, but right now it is up 3 cents. We'll look back on that in a minute. You've got, by the way, it just changed to up 23 cents. So good directionality. All right. You've got the Magnificent Seven all up slightly. Meta up big this morning, 8.48 cents. You got Microsoft up pretty good at 377. NVIDIA down $1.81. The Cathie Woods continue to look miserable. What is going on with the Cathie Woods? And it ain't the bonds this morning. We'll see that in a minute. I've already checked. I've looked ahead. I've cheated. Okay, what do we got in percentages? We've got the Dow down 0.15. I'm sorry, up. The Dow up 0.15. The NASDAQ up 0.36%. And the S&P up 0.18%. That's a really, really closely grouped for that. Lately, they've been going all different directions. And Tesla now up 0.17 or 33 cents. The direction continues to go in the right way. We're sitting, however, on Tesla at 196.70. So 200 is definitely easily within reach for Tesla on a daily basis. Easily 3 points would be no stretch. All right, let's go ahead and look at those bonds. What we've got right now, as I mentioned, it's still the same. The bonds, the 10-year is down today, 3.2 basis points, back down to 4.284. So back under 4.3, but not under that 4.25, the Randy Kirk benchmark. Then you got the 2-year is down even more, down 4.3%. That's interesting. And the 2-month actually slightly up. So you now have the inversion 4284 to 47. You've got about getting closer to 40 basis points now on that inversion. And you got the 2-month, however, going up more. So way over that 110. Yeah, I think it's 110 or more. All right, so that's where that is. Let's go on to oil. You've got the oils up 81 cents again. So we've got oil continuing upward climb after a day off. Sitting at 81.71 for Texas Intermediate. Brent at 94 cents, up at 86.19. Starting to poke up close to that $90 number. We'll see what happens. Natural gas, however, off 2 full percentage points this morning at 269. let's see, we have got gold up 22. So that puts us back at 2336. Boy, it loves 2236. That number is just, to me, it's just always at 2336. Silver up 0.46 this morning, trying to go back over 30. Copper, though, down again, 0.32%. I'm sorry, yeah, 0.32%, $4.35. You've got Bitcoin making a rebound this morning at 62,181. That's up 1333 this morning. You've got the sterling is actually up against the dollar. I don't know what's happened to the yen this morning. I don't have, oh wait, it's down again. Down 16, down 0.16. So I'm not sure what's going to happen with that Japanese yen. We'll see. If you want to travel to Japan right now, it's going to cost you not very much. All right. And that is it. That's all we've got, except we always, of course, go back and look at Tesla at least one more time. 58 cents. Hey, it's just going up like a rocket right now. Okay, yesterday I had an interview with Brian Wang where he and I talked about his idea about not using the system that we're currently using of the, with FSD or with everybody that's trying to do autonomous vehicles of, level 2, level 3, level 4, level 5, all this stuff. He's got a new way to think about it, and I think you're going to like it. It's got more science in it, I think, really. So that card will be right here. Again, let me remind you, it'll be Scott Walter later this morning, and then it'll be, who will it be tonight? It'll be what day is it? Oh yeah, it's Thursday. So that means Bradford, Ferguson tonight. I want to leave you, yes, I want you to put money in Patreon. That would be great. I did notice I just got somebody putting in a super, what do they call it? Super chat, whatever they call it on YouTube, where you just throw in $5 or $10. Thank you very much. I didn't see who it was. Okay, but I want to leave you with this note from Stephen Goldstein today. He says, many of you have admired, this was on X, by the way. Many of you have admired my ferocity when I've advocated for women, not me. This is Stephen Goldstein. I've advocated for women my whole life. Believe me, I think women are great. Many of you admire my ferocity when I've advocated for women, people of color, immigrants, refugees, and LGBTQ people throughout my career. But when I advocate with the same veracity for my own Jewish community, you can't stand it. This double standard is anti-Semitism. That's all I got to say, except it's been great talking to you.